A police officer is equipped with a robotic body after an accident. He solves his own murder case and in the process brings out the secrets of a corrupted administration. It's the year 2018. The story begins with a news element hosted by an anchor named Pat Novak. The news segment is joined by General Curtis Monroe, live from the war room in Pentagon. He explains that it is a routine operation they have started with robots patrolling the cities, and the local patrols have helped the population in every area feel safer and to trust the officials. Further, we see a turmoil between the robots and humans in Tehran, which was highly dominated by robotic forces that controlled people. These people are attacked viciously by the robots and the situation gets worse. We are introduced to Raymond Sellers, an entrepreneur and true American who invented these robots, and on the other hand, Hubert Dreisiers, whose bill prohibits the use of drones on the U.S. soil. Novak explains that American people have supported Dreisiers because they are untouched by the effect of such extraordinary technology and they fear something they do not even know. The scene then shifts to the Detroit Police Headquarters, where we are introduced to Detective Alex Murphy, who is being confronted about a case. He is explaining that he got a lead at Valens, so followed it. Later, he and his partner, Lewis, discover a line of guns, out of which one is possessed by someone named Jerry. After some threatening, he confesses that he works for Valen. Alex starts explaining what happened when he and Lewis managed to contact Valen posing as gun buyers. When they meet, Alex was also to make him believe his story, and just when they were about to close the fake deal, someone tipped him off. Valen excuses himself for a second when Alex starts firing. An intense fight is seen between these two officials and Valen's men. On the other hand, manages to escape. Alex and his partner try to escape when Lewis is shot amid the rapid firings. The IAD official warns him not to do something like this, and even if he plans to do something like this again, he must contact the higher-ups. The scene shifts to Washington, D.C., where a meeting is going on. The supreme officials put questions over Raymond Sellers since they think that to resolve conflicts and maintain peace, there should be humans who understand what the other feels. Robots can never understand what it feels like, neither it can understand the value of life. The disthirst over machines is again brought up in the discussion, as the higher-ups are afraid that the robot, who are unaware of human emotions, might end up bringing destruction over humanity. Since they don't feel anything like emotions, that is why 72% of Americans will never trust a machine controlling the trigger. The scene again shifts to Omnicorp headquarters, Detroit, where an active discussion is going on regarding the profit in American markets and how people can benefit from it. The topic revolves around campaigns that might hold dominance in the market. They resort to a solution that the ultimate way to break into the American market is giving them something they love. We are introduced to Dr. Danette Norton, who is guiding a man to control his robotic body parts from his brain, just like the whole human body is controlled by the brain. Just then, Dr. Raymond pays a visit to Dr. Danette and asks for his assistance in developing machines for combat applications, to which Danette says that he has already made his decision very clear that he is not at all interested in this stuff. Danette agrees ultimately. The scene shifts to a team of Raymond, Danette, and a woman in business from before. They are searching for suitable people who can withstand the process of attaching robotic body parts after they were deeply injured by major accidents. Danette explains that one must be able to control his emotions and be stable all the time for the procedure to work. Back in his house, Alex is spending some private time with his wife when the siren of his car starts ringing loudly. When he approaches the car, it explodes. The doctor announces that Alex has 4th-degree burns in over 80% of his body. His body has a lot of severe injuries which are incurable. The other doctors in the room turn to convince Alex's wife that the procedure is the only way to actually give Alex a new life. Dr. Norton and the Omni Foundation are the experts in this field, and she can definitely count on them. As she has no time to reconsider, she agrees. 3 months pass by and we can see Alex and his wife in a party, dancing happily. The scene shifts to the lab, where Alex is seen wearing a robotic body. The system is tracking everything about him. He is recollecting the memories of the past. The last thing left is the spine to be attached, after which he is all set to go out into the world. Alex gains consciousness and starts questioning the doctors. The doctors explain everything that happened. He looks at his body and finds himself in a robotic body which he thought was a suit. Danette corrects him and explains the situation. He attacks the doctor. Before the doctors could shut him down, he walks away. He runs out of the laboratory and research center. The doctors shut him down and he collapses in the middle of a field. Back in the laboratory, Danette shows him the reality. All the robotic parts are removed and the only human body parts is revealed. Alex is devastated from the sight. Dr. Danette explains that even if the body is not there anymore, it is truly him. Alex ultimately agrees to accept the situation. He then FaceTimes Clara, his wife, and has an emotional moment with her. They talk about how things will be better for sure and he might return home after a few tests. The next day, he is getting more familiar with his new body. He is made aware of different functions like hidden weapons in his body which will be activated once he wants it to. The combat robots specialist warns the doctor that if Alex is not good at his job, he better drop his hopes of going back home. He would never allow inconveniences. The series of tests begin. Alex seems to be a bit slower and lacking behind in comparison to the other robot. He fails and the combat official rejects him, saying he wouldn't buy it for $1. In the lab, Danette is explaining Raymond about the differences in the performances between the ED-208 and Alex. Raymond is a bit disappointed, but Danette reminds him that he was the one who wanted a human inside a robot, so this is what he gets. As a human, he will feel bias, fear, instinct, and all the human elements. However, Raymond insists on making Alex better in it just like machines can do. He says that Alex, his life and the whole existence and future of OmniCorp depends on it. He has to give America something very aspirational, something they can root for. They have a set release date, and he needs to fix everything before that. Back in the laboratory, he is performing a correctional operation on Alex's brain. In America, the preparation for the great day has begun. And on the other side, in the OmniCorp testing facility, China, Alex is ready to take the tests again. They question that if it's the machine working, is Alex accountable? Danette further explains that the software is working. Basically, the machines are in work and Alex is just a part of it. He goes along the ride, thinking it is him who is taking those decisions, while in reality, the softwares are doing it for him. It is the illusion of free will. In the next scene, he's returning to his family who are eagerly waiting for him to come home. The next day, people are waiting for him to show up in Detroit. Before he goes out, Danette talks about installing an entire DPS database in his system which will get him the access to all the criminal records and recorded archived CCTV footages from 2011 to present. As the information overloads in his brain, he is emotionally overwhelmed and has a seizure, so they have to shut him down. However, the officials put pressure on Danette to put him out there since the whole press is waiting for his arrival. Danette alters his body again and makes alterations that will make him unable to feel anything. As the process is successfully, he rises to present himself before the public. As he comes down to the stage, he doesn't meet hands with anyone. Rather, he keeps searching for potential threats. He is set to scan and kill people who are a threat and have any kind of pending criminal records. He kills a man who had a pending criminal case for murder, rape, and arson. The whole incident creates a huge sensation among people. As the officials from OmniCorp and the scientists evaluate the situation, the doctors suggest that Alex needs some changes, otherwise he might break down in front of everyone. There are some sorts of alterations interfering with the system, and it is something that needs necessary evaluation. But the others are of the opinion that Alex is good enough to be out on the streets. People are highly pleased by his actions, and they want Alex to work in real time from this moment on. Later, Clara reaches out to Danette, who tries to explain that Alex was behaving differently because of sedation. Clara still questions in disbelief as she claims she didn't see her husband in him. In the next scene, we see him in the police station where the high-ranked official is addressing the other officials that from there on, Alex will have access to all the information on all sorts of cases and no one has a say in it. Alex comes in and informs that he has selected 13 criminals who have been charged for murder and he is going to bring down the first one. He pulls over to the city where he is running behind criminals, bringing them down to the custody. Everyone is amazed. Pat Novak has now invited Raymond to his show where he says that the overall profits of OmniCorp has been increasing constantly over the last 2 weeks. Also, the Senate has approved to repeal the Dreiser's Act. Novak further brings Dreiser to the podium with the help of a hologram. A heated argument starts between Raymond and Dreiser as they start defending their points. In the next scene, Lake and Daniels reach out to Valone. On the other hand, Alex is out to catch the criminals where he is stopped midway by Clara. She tries to speak to him knowing that Alex is definitely inside the cover of the robotic body. She explains how David is unable to adapt to the situations and how hard it is for him to adjust. He is anxious all days and Clara has been feeling the same. However, Alex doesn't care and moves past her. He stops midway as he is focused on accessing Clara and David's data over and over again. He turns back and is approaching watching his wife and son. The doctors notice the change and try to evaluate how he was able to work against his system's top priorities. He heads over to his house and is trying to recollect what happened that day. The doctors notice that his dopamine levels are coming back to normal, which is why he is working against the protocols. The doctors order Alex to return to the lab, but he does not obey. As he connects all the pieces together, he sets out searching for Antoine Vallone. His first target is Jerry, whom he takes into custody and asks for the whereabouts of Vallone. His next target is Marcus. He is out to catch him. Vallon prepares him team during the time left. As Alex comes in, an intense firing situation arises in the property. He heads back to the station where he starts questioning Lake and Daniel about all the links they had with Vallone and about their involvement in his murder with ample amount of evidences to back his arguments. He kills both of them after they tip him that it was the dean who was a major counterpart and the mastermind behind the situation. He threatened her to confess, but before he could do it, he was shut down by the combat robot specializing officer. He reports to Raymond about everything that happened. It is unclear what happened with Alex. The news segment show a positive side to the situation, still emphasizing the fact that there is a lot of advantage in adapting to a robot-driven law enforcement system. The officials from OmniCorp announce that Alex is being taken care of by the doctors. People are highly supporting the repulsion of the Dreiser's Act following the current situations. Just then, Clara confesses live that the corporation has denied access to meet Alex for months now, and she demands a reason. Raymond thinks Alex should be turned off for good before he opens his mouth to speak the truth. Danette and Raymond have a heated argument about the situation. Dennett gives into the situation by putting out some conditions on which Raymond must agree. It is being announced that the Dreiser's Act has been repealed by the Congress. The lab used by Dennett is being cleared out by the corporation. Danette urges the assistant doctor to not leave Alex alone at any cost. On the other hand, an official from OmniCorp reaches out to Clara saying that Raymond wants to discuss something with her. Clara and David head off with the official. Dr. Dennett sneaks into the lab and wakes Alex up. Meanwhile, Raymond calls in Mrs. Murphy to say that Alex is dead now. The doctors tried saving him, but it did not work. Back in the lab, Dennett explains the whole situation to Alex about Raymond wanting him dead. Dennett tries to convince Alex that he is trying to save him, but he does not listen. He runs away from the lab, and he is out here hunting for Raymond and other joint in the business. He ultimately chases down Raymond and kills him, but as his system was not programmed to go against it and kill someone, his system also shuts down. He killed him and wake up in laboratory, where Dennett has fixed him completely, basically making a new version of him. Everything goes back to normal. The president has decided to uphold the Dreiser's Act.